Howdy. Welcome to the MasterCast. I'm your host, Ben Wiggins. It is a beautiful day in Aggieland, and we are fired up for today's discussion. The vision of the MasterCast is to connect prospective members to our Maze community by painting the picture of Aggieland through different voices and perspectives. Our guest today, Katrina Gaidry, is a current marketing student at Maze Business School. She is class of 2024. Katrina is the president and founder of Real Estate Aggies in Leadership. She started the club to educate her fellow students about personal finance and careers within real estate and real estate investment opportunities. We're looking forward to today's episode. Let's go. We welcome Katrina Gaidry to the show. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You are the president and founder of Real here at Texas A&M. Tell us a little bit more about the origin story.
So Real stands for Real Estate Aggies in Leadership. The idea started basically when I first moved here in August, and I had just worked at a mortgage company for several months, learning about the home loan process, and my mom's in real estate, and I just came across a lot of content online that was about real estate investing, and I wanted to learn more about it. A lot of people don't really start a club, especially not during their first semester at A&M, and so I thought it was kind of this crazy idea. I just kind of brushed it off. I mean, who has time to start a club, right? That was my thought. But the thought just kept coming back to me, and I just kind of kept brushing it off. But one night I ended up getting food poisoning, and I was super just sick, and I felt kind of out of it, but I felt like it was God talking to me. All these ideas just came into my head, and suddenly everything just clicked, and I stayed up all night. Well, first of all, I couldn't sleep, but second of all, I was writing down ideas. And so I had this note on my phone that was 3 pages long of a semester outline, what this club would look like. Okay. And so that's kind of how it originated. And then I just jumped on it after that and started talking to people, getting ideas together. But basically, we are focused on real estate and personal finance. And so our advisor, Nick Kilmer, started the Money Education Center. And he kind of helps guide us with the personal finance aspect. But a lot of that kind of developed as we came along. So I started in the hallway of Maze Business School, and I went to the marketing department and was like, hey guys, can you guys please help me create some flyers that look good, that other people would look at and stay interested in? And so the people at the marketing help desk helped me design a flyer, and I added a QR code for a survey. And so I sat outside in the hallway of Mace Business School and was like, hey, this club is starting. We're about real estate and personal finance, and we focus on topics like careers in real estate investment, budgeting post-graduation, appraisals, all the different avenues. And I also handed out candy because that was kind of around Halloween time. And
the timing of this is Halloween of last year before?
Last year.
Okay.
So this past fall semester, so October 2021.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, okay, I just want to start this club. I don't care if it has 5 people in it. Whoever else wants to learn, I want to help give them that opportunity. But after 2 days of just handing out candy and just talking to people and meeting some really cool people, we had 85 interested. And so that's where I got my
candy.
Yes, the power of candy. Well, and just talking to people. Sure. Anyone that walked by, I would be like, hey, look at this. Are you interested in learning about how to buy your first home? Because working at the mortgage company, I realized a lot of people don't know how. And whenever they buy their first home, that's the only time they learn. And I was like, what if we could just kind of teach each other as college students how to do this? And so I started sending out emails for my team. And so we selected 20, and we interviewed for officers. So we had 5 officers, and we led our team of 20 called our exec team. And so every other Wednesday, we got together and focused on ways to prepare for the spring semester. And at that time, the interest grew. We handed out flyers. We had about 200 something people interested. We made yard signs. We designed shirts. We created the Instagram. And then we marketed to campus this spring semester of spring 2022. And we had 430 people scan the code that says, I'm interested. And so that whole semester of planning really helped us be able to take off this semester.
Okay. So you had people scan to say that they were interested, and then you start operations, I guess, is in the fall?
So last fall, we had everyone scan to say if they were interested, and then we sent out an email to those people saying, hey, we are starting in the spring. Come to our informational, come to our recruitment socials. We would love to have you.
Got it.
And so that's how we got the emails of people to talk to and reach out to, and then they started coming to the informationals and went through the recruitment process. And then we have guest speakers twice a month sharing about their professional career field and how they got there and their tips on how we can get there, as well as some content. And so we had an appraiser come in and tell us about commercial valuation and property appraisals. We had a commercial realtor come in and share about commercial real estate and kind of their secrets on getting there. We had someone come in for Airbnb and personal investment, and he called it the secret sauce of like learning what makes a good Airbnb and how to keep it going.
What did you learn from that one?
One thing I never really thought about was a lot of places in bigger cities like Houston, they all have a lot of restrictions. And so it has to be like unrestricted to have an Airbnb. But also our speaker, Jamie, he spoke about NIMBYs, not in my backyard. And so that was funny. But it's basically about people treating the Airbnb like they would their house. And sometimes people break chairs and you have to prepare for those kind of things and have a budget to like pay for cleaning services and knowing your rate and giving a lower rate if people stay longer. And so that was really cool to learn about. But one of the tips was also start as soon as you're able. I think he started as early as college with part of his student loan. And so that was really cool to learn about.
One of the things I love that you're talking about here is the idea of earlier financial education. One of the things that people complain about the most in today's public education system and, just generally pre-college education is that we're not really getting financial education. We're learning, home ec, but we're not learning about how to pay your taxes, things like that, how to do a mortgage, how to buy a home, exactly as you're discussing. So that's really compelling to me. What are you hoping that people will get out of this? What do you hope they will come away from it saying? Does that question make sense?
Yes. Basically, what is our primary impact?
Sure. Yes.
So our biggest goal is to connect people with people in the industry they want to go in, with like-minded Aggies. It's about creating connections and lifelong friendships. And so I always joke that one day we're going to be playing golf together because we're working hard together, all for our goal of getting speakers to come in and share about their experiences. And so it's basically to create connections and to learn together. And the whole reason behind this club was let's learn together. Let's invite these people who are experienced professionals, have been in the career field, a lot of them for 10 to 20 years, and have them share with us how they got there and what they would tell themselves in college. And as far as the personal finance and the financial education aspect, that's been discussed a lot as well, how we aren't really taught that and we're just expected to kind of know it. And so some of the topics we cover are about investing, and most of it's property investment. But that was something that a lot of people wanted to learn more about. We have kind of a lot of stock-based programs, but real estate investment is definitely on the rise, especially with the market right now. And so many people were just really interested in that because we all want to find a way to capitalize on paying off student loans post-graduation and creating alternate sources of income. And so that's where the Airbnb came in. And we have an investor coming in the fall to share about home flipping and remodeling. One is called the BRRRR method. It's like buy, refinance, remodel, resell. And so little things like that are really cool to learn about. But at every presentation, we share the email and the phone number of the speaker, and students reach out to them. I mean, in our first three meetings, we had 12 to 14 students that had either landed an internship or just a visit at work to come see what was going on. And the part that surprises everyone is we're actually 14% engineering majors. We're 18% liberal arts majors. And I believe we're 16% like ag economics majors. And then our classes are pretty stratified. We're like 28% freshmen, 29% sophomores, 26% juniors, and then more like 14% seniors and around 4 to 5% graduate students. And so they all have the same desire to learn more about personal finance and to learn more about careers in real estate. Because there's a lot of people that at this point, we still don't know what we want to do. I mean, I learned more about real estate through this club, and that's how I decided I wanted to go into it. And so a lot of people are making those connections as they come and see a day in the life of the industry that they're interested in.
If you had it to do differently, if you could start the whole thing from food poisoning, what would you do the same? What would you do differently?
Something I would do differently was I would just trust more. You know, faith can ground you, and I just wish that I wouldn't have been scared. Like, the worst thing that could happen is that you fail, but at least you know that you tried your best. And those little thoughts inside your head that say you can't do it, you need to just shove them to the side, because the truth is, everyone at A&M, we worked hard to get here, and we continued to work hard once we got here. And if you have an idea to do something, you should just go after it and see if you can do it. And so I'd say one thing is doubt less and trust more would be a big thing.
So trust more, trust yourself, trust others. What's the specific behavior that you would do differently from an external perspective, if that makes sense?
Oh, it does. The biggest enemy of starting something is perfectionism. And so instead of focusing how exactly is this going to turn out, how exactly are we going to do well at this, it's better to just say, you know what, let's just give it our best and see what happens. And worry about the details later.
Yeah, lean entrepreneurship at its best. You had quite a journey prior to arriving at Texas A&M. What led to your interest in real estate in the first place?
I did an internship at a mortgage company for about 6 months, and I wanted to go into finance. I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be a CFO, something like that. I was really interested in the financial industry, and so that's why I started at the mortgage company. I grew up around real estate. My mom's a realtor.
Right.
I was like, I'm not going to do what my mom does. I want to do something different. But then working at the mortgage company, the main thing that I worked with was marketing data. And so 2,000 to 3,000 realtors, I compiled like Excel lists, mailing lists, spreadsheets. I worked with information and data all day, and I talked to all my coworkers and learned about the process of buying a home loan. I did a lot of data entry for co-borrowers, information like that. And it was really cool. It helped me have a better attention to detail. But one thing I loved about working, it was called Interlink Mortgage in San Antonio. And what I loved about working there was the culture and also the events that we would have. We would have marketing events, and I would do all the information behind that, and we would market to realtors. So they were our primary audience, our clients. And so whenever you're doing all that, you know, you have to think about what is the mindset of the client? Like, what are they going to be attracted to? What are we going to do? And so one of the things, we had like a fish fry, just fun little events like that to create connections between people and say, hey, like, we want to work with you and for you. And it was really interesting to me. And I loved working with the marketing team. And I really started thinking, wow, just talking to these realtors, real estate seems really cool. And I really like the flexibility of the schedule of that. And but most of all, what makes it so interesting to a lot of people is it's so multifaceted, you know, from title to the inspectors, to new builds, to the listing and the buying side of real estate, to the escrow, to the property valuation, to the surveyors. There's so many different jobs that come together in real estate. And I really started thinking about it, but then I was focused on moving here and it kind of went under the rug. But then starting this club and learning about real estate investment and meeting realtors and people that were my age and had their real estate license, and it was really cool. And I started thinking, why should I rule this out just because one of my parents did it? I can do it too. In fact, I know someone that's been doing it for close to 15 years. And so that was kind of how it all started. I changed my major to marketing because through marketing for the club, it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of how real estate grew. And it's just one of those things that the more you learn about it, the more appealing it seems.
Mm-hmm. What did you feel was unique about how Mays could impact your journey?
What I love about Mays is that they're very encouraging of entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a new idea, you can tell someone and you can talk to people about it. And people that I talked to at Mays, mostly students, but also some professors, they all were very encouraging and very supportive. And the thing is, people invest in Mays. Future students, former students, current students, everyone comes together at Mays, and everyone puts time and money and resources into helping other people. And so what I really like about Mays is that there's so many different avenues and there's so many opportunities, from Aggies in Wall Street to the STEM to Stocks program to the investment banking. I mean, there's so many different opportunities to explore what you're interested in. And especially when you're starting something like that as well, there's just a lot of support, from the departments. Mm-hmm. And I love that everyone that I meet at Mays, they're all driven. They all want to be there. Mm-hmm. They all want to work hard and continually try to do better. And they will also push you to do better. Right. And so now my team is a lot more diversified. We have some engineering majors and some ag economics majors. But in the beginning, I pulled the members of our executive founding team from Mays. And this club was starting out. I had a plan, but it was rough around the edges. We worked on things together. And they basically applied, interviewed, and then sat down and said, where do we start? And that's what I love about Mays.
Very can-do approach. What were some of the challenges that you faced when you got here, other than food poisoning?
Other than food poisoning? Well, I am a first-generation student and Aggie, and I was kind of just trying to find my place. All the org recruitment, it was kind of a lot. I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to join. If I wanted to join one, everyone was like, join a professional org, join a social org, join an org just for fun. And I was like, that's 3 orgs. That's a lot of orgs. What if I could just make one? That's a little bit of each. And so that's what we did. But some challenges, basically, like I said earlier, was overcoming that doubt of myself and of others. Some people were just like, that's signing up for a lot. You're not going to be able to do that. That's too much to ask for. And my response was, I've seen it done before. I know that we can do it again. Because, the other leadership organizations are structured in a similar way. Granted, they don't have as much, most of the leadership organizations are social, not professional. But I was like, there's no reason why we can't do both. And so I would say doubt was a challenge. And another challenge was just also, like I said earlier, just trusting that the process would work out. Because I know sometimes it seems like there's some dead ends, but the truth is it's going to work out and the right opportunity is going to come along at the right time. But that doesn't mean that you just give up. You just have to keep chasing and keep pursuing. Another challenge was, I guess, being in a leadership role as a sophomore and just moving there. I kind of had to step up to the plate and say, hey, here's a little bit about my leadership experience. I know that I'm an underclassman, just like most of y'all, but it's not about me. It's about the club. What are we going to accomplish together? I can't do this on my own. I need help. And so that's how our executive team was founded. We came together and we have committees. So we have our fundraising committee called RAISE. We have our marketing committee. We have our leadership committee called RISE. And our marketing committee is called REACH. It's kind of like outreach. And so they're all R's to be a part of REAL. Many jokes are made. But so, and then Reserve, which is like our financial committee. And so it was figuring out how to do that organization, that structure. And honestly, the biggest thing was just motivating others, because we were all kind of put together and we were all planning this, and we were in a room and we were planning about what we were going to do for recruitment and a launch and informationals. And I don't know, we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't have a real estate club before, so we didn't have a size comparison of how many people should we have, And so I was just like, let's keep an open mind, And so it's a good thing we planned and prepared as much as we did, because we had a little bit over 200 members our first semester. And in order to prepare for that, we booked the biggest room at Rudder. We wanted to say, anyone that wants to learn has a place with us. We want to give that opportunity to you. No matter what school you're at, no matter what year you are, what we're learning isn't dependent on things like that. We want everyone to have a place, because we're all there for the same reason, pretty much.
What's next for you? What are you doing this summer? What are you doing the next couple of years? What are you doing post-graduation? And it's okay if the answer is, I don't know.
I didn't know until I started REAL, and getting to meet people and learn their stories and about the different career avenues. That's how I figured out I wanted to go into real estate. And so this summer, I just got my real estate license. So
Congrats.
Thank you. That was right after finals. I went from studying to finals straight to studying for the real estate exam. Good news is that A&M, we learn how to study. So that was good. And then I just took an accounting mini-master, and I'm currently in business law. And so finishing up classes in the next couple of weeks, and then I'm going to hopefully work for a brokerage and kind of dip my toes in this summer and start working in real estate, and then continue to do the club over the school year. And a big goal we have is we're having a career fair in the spring. And so that's going to be really cool. I'm really excited for students to meet more professionals and to get some internship opportunities and really get to just dive into the industries that they want to go into. And so that's something I'm very much looking forward to. And then I'm going to go more into real estate, next summer and the year after that. And then post-graduation, going full-time into real estate. And a couple years down the line, I think it would be really cool to have a brokerage.
That's great. I hope it all goes swimmingly, smashingly, whatever the word may be. Any good bull?
Any good bull. I want to really just highlight that this club wouldn't have been possible without many different people. But two key people in the creation of this club are Blake Parrish and Nick Kilmer. And so I remember I went to the marketing department at Mays Business School, and Blake Parrish believed in me from the very beginning and was like, okay, you got to find an advisor, tell me about your plans. And I wrote them all over his whiteboard, and he was like, okay, this is a good idea. Let me know if you need any help. And he wrote down some names of people that could come and speak for me. And he's like, just tell me Blake Parrish, and you can set something up. And that was how we got our first speaker, Carlton Orange. And he recommended I look into the financial planning program to find a faculty member there. And so I set up a meeting with Nick Kilmer, and then I met him at the financial planning banquet and had our meeting. He really liked the ideas, and he is our advisor. And I tell him every time, this wouldn't have been possible without you, because every student org has to have an advisor. And he's also taught our students about budgeting post-graduation, and he used to work at scholarships and financial aid. So he's a great source of information and support for us. And so I'd say without Blake Parrish and Nick Kilmer, this wouldn't have been able to happen. So,
well, good bull to them. And
yes,
good
sir.
bull to you. Thank you so much for joining us, Katrina.
Thank you for having me.
Have a nice week.
You too.